Okay.
Blanca, I
Not what I
haven't
was
judged
referring
you.
to.
Looks like it's.
I know.
I haven't judged your-
I didn't say I didn't know what you were
we
referring to.
gathered that was.
Okay.
It's very basic. I need more.
I love this. Where did you get it? Is that from marketing?
Oh,
Impressive.
Yeah.
Berkeley needs a raise. Hey.
Just kidding. Yeah, no, and then the other ones are just.
I love
Yeah.
Probably not. Like, I support them all.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Probably not. I support them.
Same.
We're talking pretty much.
So I still haven't figured out how to do clock hierarchy.
Okay.
Me
Oh my
neither.
God,
I forgot to clock in today. Yeah, same.
Bro, I forgot to clock in yesterday.
Oh, I bet.
So I think all of my clock in is supposed to be edited.
I didn't think I have to pick up this year. I forgot to clock up.
You know, so many people.
Yeah.
Oh, like PM. But I finished working at like 11.
I'm just gonna
I'm gonna have to add the PA one because I forgot to clock seminar. I can clock Senate today, because I usually do Senate as well.
Go get some chili.
I heard there was chili.
Todd
Number
Cunez.
3 is the best.
Number 3.
Number
He
3.
is
Not
bad.
number one.
I can try any.
Tell Todd I said hello and that is you. I'd rather.
Yeah, I'll check in on the stream once.
I hope Todd's
won't be
watching.
here in person.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
They were done at like 10:15.
Yeah.
You need like 6, 7. You need to be
I'm having too many drinks.
I don't have any.
Edit that out. Nobody heard. You just have too many options in your life.
Oh.
Are you like,
No.
is that water?
This is a you problem. This is water.
Are you chasing your juice with water?
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's why I don't like living waters.
Oh my
No, they just don't. By the way, I was like, oh, sorry, I had to tell you guys.
It was funny, so like after we resolved you guys. Yeah, like they didn't. Yeah,
It's like,
are those extra? No.
Wait, what? No, he's serving chili.
What? He literally came in and said he had a meeting with the GU. She didn't come into the room.
No,
Maybe she was like brush prepping.
he's serving chili.
Lexi, I really
just
like
saw
the
him
text you just
downstairs.
sent. Oh, should we work on our home sides and hope for the best?
I don't know.
Why are you so far?
Ask that.
Gotti.
The thing is, I put like
We'll rearrange everything just for you guys.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit
handwriting
over
is too
there.
messy for me to write it
No,
out.
wait, I like.
Yeah,
It's gonna take forever.
That's the drink.
These
ones are really easy. They happen like this.
Like,
Okay, I just said Sarah, so. Oh, she's right there. Yeah.
How old are you? Like.
I think it's probably what she said.
22.
Welcome to the
They
Senate.
split you guys up.
She's been paying for you.
I'm 19.
They go all the way
Okay. Welcome to the Senate.
I'm funny.
He's a child.
I need a king now.
Made it.
Wait, what's the king for her day? I need that king back.
We're on camera, so
Oh,
I can't say what
thanks.
Oh, tell me later then. Just text me later. I can't say the
Oh,
letter Z.
that's perfect. Okay, I'm glad it all worked out. Oh, yeah. Just say
I was
yeah.
right there. There's like a.
There's a
Yeah, she said like Senator Silver.
I just said I woke up 30 minutes before time.
I'm so pain.
It's about like final.
And I was just hoping to do showers, like.
Like go make an
Oh,
assignment.
you can't get it if you're a player.
Oh.
Going back to suicide.
So is she a
No.
Then you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
say
I don't
yes
know. We'd have to do it else.
Megan too.
Say whatever.
I'm not.
Exactly. I'll double check my soul server, but I'm like 99%
Because
sure I
there's
have
a class council without scores.
What's up, Chris?
Friends Day, you're coming?
Like,
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Billy did.
Not those don't count.
I just had a meeting.
They say, they say your name, say present.
I will. She gave me directions.
Not eating, sitting.
Chat.
It's from an Excel so much. I'm barely gonna see.
I wish I was up there.
So they.
Still a little weird thing to find out. I can have John Probably 160.
Hey, everything's in order. Grab a deal.
They give him A's in right now.
At 8 in the morning, I'm not.
What else?
I'm not capable of like.
It's under
I'm not
percent.
capable.
I can't blame you there, but.
She'll be lucky if I show up.
It's Joe.
I haven't punched out yet because I need my 8 hours.
Can I just punch it right
No matter what, that's when against Georgia, I apologize.
Meeting to order, roll call.
Senator Amsden? Here. Senator Baker? Senator Bolio?
Present.
Senator Bissonnette?
Here.
Senator Bouchard? Senator Jay Brown?
Here.
Senator Kay Brown?
Present.
Senator Day?
Here.
Senator Desai?
Present.
Senator Godek?
Present.
Senator Gilmartin? Here. Senator Holman? Senator Hunt?
Present.
Senator Kilday? Senator Lipscomb?
Here.
Senator Lemieux?
Present.
Senator Lucier?
Present.
Senator McKiernan?
Here.
Senator Miller?
Here.
Senator Piacenza?
Here.
Senator Raymond?
Here.
Senator Scorpa? Senator Shamorad?
Here.
Senator Silver?
Here.
Senator Stearns? Senator Thapa? Senator Thurston?
Here.
Senator Weiner?
Here.
Chairperson Amaya?
Here.
Chairperson Cloutier?
Here.
Chairperson Greenwood?
Here.
Chairperson Peralt? Present. Secretary Bronson?
Here.
Vice President Souza?
Here.
President Kaufman?
Present. All right, let's move into the acceptance of the minutes. So at this time, I make the motion to accept the minutes from the 11/12/2024 meeting. Second, are there any additions, revisions, or deletions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion passes. All right, before we get started with new and existing business, I just wanted to say happy birthday to Senator Hunt. So, happy birthday.
I am old.
We hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy your birthday.
Appreciate it.
Next, we're going to move into the Senator of the Month award. So this is something that we started in October of last year, and I really wanted to bring it back. September, we did not have a lot of crazy business going on, and we didn't have a fully appointed e-board, so I deferred the first Senator of the Month for October. So this Senator of the Month award is presented to a senator who has shown exemplary commitment and service, demonstrating initiative and dedication in fulfilling their responsibilities. This individual has contributed meaningfully to the success of the Student Senate's efforts, fostering a positive environment and supporting the well-being of their community. Their efforts and achievement are a testament to their role as a leader among their peers. After conferring with the executive board due to her exemplary reports and display of advocacy for her class and the students of this university, as president of this Senate, I proudly declare that the Senator of the Month for the month of October is Autumn Bissonnette.
Motion to table for until next week so I can do my hair. Yay!
Ooh, Senate shakes. No, I'm not kidding. Shake your hands.
Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations, Senator Bissonnette. Are there any other remarks that anyone would like to share? Yes, Senator Hunt.
So, I actually go through CAB with her. She is the finance director for CAB, and she has done such an amazing job restructuring the whole finance system overall, and just her being her personality does bring a good positivity in the room. And honestly, she has done such a great job because of that.
Chairperson Amaya.
Yeah, I think Autumn is truly deserving of this award. Even when I was a first-time senator, she was liaison for the class of 2026 when they had no position filled, and then she ran for class of 2026. Here she is. She's been doing a great job advocating for the students and her constituency overall. Yeah, I think it's truly deserved. Congratulations.
Anyone else? All right, seeing the conversation has naturally expired, we will move on. Next is Sex Week Committee co-chair appointments. So unfortunately, Allison Stanich will be graduating before the event can be scheduled. So I've had to find some other people to help make sure that it still happens. Thankfully, Allison said that she was willing to share her plans for the event, so it would be easy for whoever steps up and takes over this role. So I want to take a moment to thank her for all of her hard work she's put into Sex Week both this year and last year. But since her term is coming naturally to an end, we'll need to appoint a new chair. So at this time, I move to nominate Autumn Bissonnette for the position of Sex Week chairperson.
Second.
All right, hearing a second, we will have a 3-minute conversation about this. So Autumn showed interest in running Sex Week with her experience on the campus activities boards and our student senate. I thought she would be a perfect person to take on this position. I know that she has led a lot of successful events in the past. I'm sure she will do it with this as well. Are there any questions, comments, or remarks? Yes, Senator Hunt.
So backing up on that, I remember last year when she first went on CAB, she took on the spring event Hyde Party, and she had so much dedication behind that, and she was very excited. And I think with this position, she's going to do outstanding events regarding about Sex Week, as this is a very important to the school to teach people about safe sex.
Senator Hunt.
Having been on class council with Senator Bissonnette, she did an awesome job trying to make sure everything for our council events were run smoothly and all went very accordingly to plan. So I feel like this is a great spot for her to be in.
Any other remarks? Okay, we will move into a roll call vote.
Senator Amsden,
Yes.
Senator Baker, Senator Bolio,
Yes.
Senator Bissonnette,
Abstain.
Senator Bouchard, Senator J. Brown,
Yes.
Senator K. Brown,
Yes.
Senator Day,
Yes.
Senator Desai,
Yes.
Senator Godek,
Yes.
Senator Gilmartin,
Yes.
Senator Holman, Senator Hunt,
Yes.
Senator Kilday,
Yes.
Senator Lipscomb, Senator Lemieux,
Yes.
Senator Lucier,
Yes.
Senator McKiernan,
Yes.
Senator Miller, Senator Piacenza,
Yes.
Senator Raymond,
Yes.
Senator Scorpa, Senator Shamorad,
Yes.
Senator Silver,
Yes.
Senator Stearns, Senator Thapa,
Yes.
Senator Thurston,
Yes.
Senator Weiner,
Yes.
Vice President Souza,
Yes.
President Kaufman.
Yes.
24-0-1.
With 24 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 abstention, the motion passes. So as it says on the agenda, co-chairs, I do have another appointment to make for this. So at this time, I move to nominate Senator Will McCurran to be the second chair for Sex Week.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll have a 3-minute conversation about this. So Will reached out to me, interested in running the event a few weeks ago, and he has experience running events with the 2027 council. And he expressed an interest in ensuring that we have a successful and fun Sex Week. So I thought he would be a great person to pair with Senator Bissonnette to ensure that, like I said, we have a successful week. So the floor is open for any remarks. Yes.
So I've worked with Senator McKernan on the 27 class council. We've hosted a lot of successful events. And he has been a very easy and helpful person to work with. And I think he would be a great person as well.
Senator Bissonnette.
So I have yet to plan an event with Senator McKiernan. However, I've only heard positive things about him, and I'm so excited to hopefully be taking this on with him as co-chair.
Okay, seeing the conversation has naturally expired, we will move into a roll call vote.
Senator Amsden,
Yes.
Senator Baker, Senator Bolio,
Yes.
Senator Bissonnette,
Yes.
Senator Bouchard, Senator J. Brown,
Yes.
Senator K. Brown,
Yes.
Senator Day,
Yes.
Senator Desai,
Yes.
Senator Godek,
Yes.
Senator Gilmartin,
Yes.
Senator Holman, Senator Hunt,
Yes.
Senator Kilday,
Yes.
Senator Lipscomb,
Yes.
Senator Lemieux,
Yes.
Senator Lucier,
Yes.
Senator McKiernan, Senator Miller, Senator Piacenza,
Yes.
Senator Raymond, Senator Scorpa, Senator Shimorad,
Yes.
Senator Silver,
Yes.
Senator Stearns,
Yes.
Senator Thapa,
Yes.
Senator Thurston,
Yes.
Senator Weiner,
Yes.
Vice President Souza,
Yes.
President Kaufman.
Yes.
24-0-0,
24 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 abstention. The motion passes. Congratulations to both of you. I can't wait to see what you guys have planned. Next is the International Student Life Committee Chair appointment. Before we get into the appointment of that, at this time, I make the motion to create and activate the Student Senate International Student Life Special Committee.
Second.
Okay, hearing a second, I will allocate 3 minutes to this conversation. I feel like the past few weeks have shown the importance of having a person or group of people charged with handling issues with international student life, especially in the Student Senate or on behalf of the Student Senate. I want to have reports on what exactly the issues are facing this population of students. We all represent them, but they are a unique population that I feel deserves that recognition on the agenda. So this committee will be open for anyone to join after its creation, and I will work with the appointed chairperson after I announce who they are to have key students invited to be a part of it. Are there any questions or comments about this? Okay, seeing none, we will do a voice vote for this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion passes. Okay, next we will move into the appointment of the chairperson. So at this time, I make the motion to nominate Senator Kavaya Desai to be the chairperson of the International Student Life Committee.
Second.
Okay, hearing a second, we will allocate 3 minutes to this conversation. So Senator Desai actually brought the committee idea to me, and I loved it, and I thought she would be the perfect person to lead it. She has been very, very outspoken when it comes to international student issues, and I just can't wait to see what she'll do and see her represent the students that come from countries abroad, just like herself. Are there any other questions, comments, or remarks? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote.
Senator Amsden,
Yes.
Senator Baker, Senator Bolio,
Yes.
Senator Bissonnette,
Yes.
Senator Bouchard, Senator J. Brown,
Yes.
Senator K. Brown,
Yes.
Senator Day,
Yes.
Senator Desai, Senator Godek,
Yes.
Senator Gilmartin,
Yes.
Senator Homan, Senator Hunt,
Yes.
Senator Kilday,
Yes.
Senator Lipscomb, Senator Lemieux, Senator Lucier,
Yes.
Senator McKiernan,
Yes.
Senator Miller, Senator Piacenza,
Yes.
Senator Raymond,
Yes.
Senator Scorpa, Senator Shmorad,
Yes.
Senator Silver,
Yes.
Senator Stearns, Senator Thapa, Senator Thurston,
Yes.
Senator Weiner, Vice President Souza,
Yes.
President Kaufman.
Yes.
24-0-1.
With 24 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 abstention, the motion passes. Congratulations, Senator Desai. We'll be hearing from you shortly on international student life, so thank you. Next, we'll move into budget allocations, so I'll hand the floor off to Treasurer Peralta for this. At this time, I make the recommendation that the cheerleading team receive a reserve allocation of $5,700.42. So moved.
Second.
All right, hearing a second, I'll allocate 3 minutes to this conversation. So the Finance Committee had a reserve request hearing with the cheerleading team this past Wednesday, the 13th at 3 p.m. I'm sure as you all remember from conversations we've had regarding to both cheer and dance safety, something that the cheerleading team was looking to purchase were mats for practicing. So this request includes 5 mats at $855 a piece, which totals $4,275. And then the cost of freight and transit to actually get those mats here, because they are definitely not small in size, is $1,398.44. So between the mats and the transit cost, that brings us to the total request. And just for new senators, to give you guys some context, typically, I think this might be the first reserve allocation that you all, new senators, have seen this term. So throughout the term, we either do like initial allocations or additional allocations or reserve allocations. So anything that's coming from an initial allocation or an additional allocation is coming from this current year's operating budget. Our reserve account is typically more special scenarios that we're giving that money out. Basically, the qualifications for something to be a reserve request and subsequently having that reserve request granted is that it's something that benefits not just one club. So I think the cheerleading team sharing these with the dance team and like having them stored in the gym is going to be really good in terms of, you know, being able to use them with everyone. And then also another qualification for a reserve allocation is that it's something that will benefit students for years to come. And this definitely is not just a purchase that will impact students in the cheerleading and dance club this year, but for years to come. The floor is open for questions or comments. Senator Ramsey.
Where is the, would the dance team be in charge, or like the dance and cheer team be in charge of keeping the mats clean? Cause I know you have to wash them so you don't get like the, like sickness transferred or stuff like that. Like how is that being taken care of?
The cheerleading team would have the primary like ownership, I guess, of the mats. We let other people use them as needed. Our mats that we currently have are actually fairly new, so I'm not sure about that process, but now that you've brought it up, cheer will definitely be the ones to take care of like the cleaning, because the current ones that we do have are new enough to where like it's not an issue yet, especially since we haven't had much use of them due to like not having been able to stunt much this season. So we'll definitely like take care of the cleaning though, like for other clubs.
Senator Brown.
How big are these mats?
I
It's all-
can find the invoice. They're really big, like, I wanna say 45 feet long by like 4 or 5 feet wide, but I could be wrong. Like a full panel of all 5 plus the 2 we have, which is 7, would be probably bigger than the tables. Like, it's the square that the tables make, but I could find the exact measurements if you'd like to know them.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote.
Senator Amsden,
Yes.
Senator Baker, Senator Bolio, Senator Bissonnette,
Yes.
Senator Bouchard, Senator J. Brown,
Yes.
Senator K. Brown,
Yes.
Senator Day,
Yes.
Senator Desai,
Yes.
Senator Godek,
Yes.
Senator Gilmartin,
Yes.
Senator Holman, Senator Hunt,
Yes.
Senator Kilday,
Yes.
Senator Lipscomb, Senator Lemieux, Senator Lucier,
Yes.
Senator McKiernan,
Yes.
Senator Miller, Senator Piacenza,
Yes.
Senator Raymond,
Yes.
Senator Scorpa, Senator Shamorad,
Yes.
Senator Silver,
Yes.
Senator Stearns, Senator Thapa,
Yes.
Senator Thurston,
Yes.
Senator Weiner, Vice President Souza,
Abstain.
President Kaufman.
Yes,
24-0-1.
24 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 1 abstention. The motion passes. Okay, congratulations to the cheerleading team. I'm glad to see that this is something that will actually be coming. We've been talking about this for what feels like years now. But now, now they will actually have mats and they will be able to practice and perform safely. So, continuing on with budget allocations, I'll hand the floor back up to Treasurer Pearl.
At this time, I make the recommendation to table the Golden Voices initial allocation until the next Student Senate General Meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, during a second, I'll have 3 minutes of this conversation.
Okay, so this was originally scheduled for this week's agenda. For those of you who don't know, whenever I get working budgets from last year and proposed budgets from this year, something that I do for their working budgets from last year is I audit them, which often takes a lot of time in terms of accessing financials from last year and kind of going through those and verifying a lot of the purchases in there. And I thought that I was going to have that done in time for this week, but I am still working on that in collaboration with student involvement. So by the next Student Senate meeting, I will have that done and be ready to proceed with that.
Are there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into a voice vote for that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining?
Oh, it's aye.
2 abstentions, motion passes. Okay, next, we're gonna move into a discussion about representative and special committee report format changes. So before you all is a report template that is on Kodiak, both in an announcement and under my section. I'm also going to put it, or under the president section. I'm also gonna put it under the vice president section too, because that's where the rest of the resources are. Essentially, I noticed, I was looking through your guys' reports and then also looking back at meetings and seeing what exactly we're talking about, how exactly we can break it down, and also how exactly we can have time for important conversations with your reports. So the main Senate report is what you will be verbally reporting at Senate. So your general updates, your concerns and support needed, the things that we actually need to talk about to ensure that each constituency is supported. The additional information, things like constituency kudos, club and organization meetings or events, and the miscellaneous and weirdo section. That stuff is all stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be verbally reported unless it is something extremely significant, like something that's never been seen before at the university. Class reps, you guys are exempt from that because you have to report on everything your council is doing. So report their events, report things like that. But for the colleges, there are so many clubs that fall under like each college's like constituency. And we have over 70 clubs and organizations that we could possibly report on. If we were reporting on every single meeting and every single event that all of them had, we would be doing that for probably more than a month of just Senate meeting time. So just out of fairness to all those clubs, out of fairness to our time and out of fairness to the time of the student body, I really wanted to do that. And just really cut down on the amount of time we spend reporting on information that could just be digitally accepted in the minutes. With this too, Senate in the past has digitally uploaded the minutes to University Post. So previously Vice President Souza, when she was our secretary, she would make a post. We are going to be bringing that back. So know that your reports are going to be made public and people do look at them. That was something that I believe a lot of the people in Faculty Senate looked at. They don't really look at the live streams, but they did look at the minutes. I know that one of our professors definitely has talked to us about stuff that he read in them. So know that other people are reading these, even if they might be long. You can definitely just Control F and look for sections that you are looking for and find exactly what we're talking about. So keep that in mind. It's just another avenue for us to get our name out there, for people to see what we're doing besides just the live streams too. Yeah, Vice President.
With all that being said, because they're going to be made public and because like people, as President Kaufman mentioned, do read them, it's very important that you put in like top effort into your reports. Because if you're just submitting a document that's like, I'm having a meeting with the dean next week, that's not enough for other people to read. It needs to be more comprehensive. And they're also in the sections where you are including like the dates and times of events and certain things going on within your constituency, you have to make sure the information is 100% correct. So you're not releasing incorrect information like in a written form. Honestly, anything you say at Senate should be correct, but it's extra important to make sure every single piece of information in your report is 100% effort and 100% correct.
Again, also, you all have a month to do these. So first off, take your time with them. Like, don't rush yourself. Make sure you're reporting on information that you collect over the month. But also know, like, if there's times where not all the sections are filled out, that's fine. The main Senate report is the bread and butter of all of your positions, so make sure you're getting that done at the bare minimum. Something else with this too, when we are giving the reports at Senate, I'm going to start instituting a time limit. But if you would like Senate to have a conversation about a topic, I'm going to have a form that goes out before the report meeting for you to request additional time. So between all the constituencies, I think it would be best, we did the math out in our e-board meeting the other week, but I think it would be best for us to do 3 minutes per constituency unless you request additional time. If you are going on and rambling about stuff, which happens from time to time, I will point of order you if you go over 3 minutes. I don't like to point of order people. I feel like it is embarrassing. I don't want to be the bad guy, so please just keep that in mind. Report the most important information. If you need to talk more about stuff or you want to have a conversation, request the additional time. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes.
Is this a hard 3-minute cap, or is it like if I'm finishing up my sentence and like it goes over like 3 minutes and 10 seconds, is that allowed, or are you gonna like cut it at 3 minutes?
I'll use my discretion. That ultimately comes down to the president's position. They are allowed to do that. I have done that multiple times throughout meetings. Like, I'll set a 3-minute timer. It seems like someone's wrapping up their sentence. I'll stop it before the timer goes off just to let them finish. So that does happen. So if it's something pressing too, anyone could motion for more time and we could accept it as well. If it's something that I guess a senator didn't think was as pressing at the time, but someone else wants to have an additional conversation for it. If it's an emergency, we could do that too. But again, just keep in mind that you're eating into everyone else's time when that happens. I might have to drop like how many minutes I allocate to everyone else. So yes, Senator Lucier.
So kind of going off that, are you gonna give us like a 15-second warning for when the time's almost up, or are you gonna give no warning and just cut it at?
I'll let the timer go off so you know. And if you're just wrapping it up, I'll pause it really quickly and let you finish. Yeah. Any other, Vice President Souza?
Just to clarify, it's gonna be like any other timed discussion for almost every discussion we have in Senate. President Kaufman's like, I'm gonna allocate 5 minutes to this discussion. It's exactly like that. It's just happening in reports. So it's like not any more different or strict or anything like that. It's the same exact format we use for the entire rest of the meeting.
Also, please note, I do actually like read through all of your reports and stuff too. I do look at stuff. So if you say something at Senate that like you didn't get to put into your report because it came up afterwards too, please reach out to either Secretary Langella or myself. That way, when I look back at it, we know what exactly was said and we do actually put it in, because during the report section, we just copy and paste what you digitally sent in. So if you need something added afterwards and it is important, do that. I know there were a lot of like conversations and stuff that happened last meeting that I did want to look back at your reports and I didn't find anything about any of those conversations. So just know that that is another option available to you all as well. That's also why I ask if you have revisions, deletions, corrections and stuff like that. When we do accept the minutes, you can ask for them on the spot. It might delay when Secretary Langella actually posts the minutes, but you can still ask for them then too. So there's multiple stages where you guys are able to make little edits and corrections as well. Yeah, are there any questions about anything on the main report structure? Okay, the one last thing I do want to highlight is the miscellaneous or weirdo section. If you want like a funny quote or something like that in the minutes, I thought that'd be a little funny thing for you guys to put in. Just remember to keep it professional like it says. So yeah, so we'll go ahead and move on. So next up is a Paycom discussion. I really just wanted to hear from all of you what your feedback is on Paycom. And I see that Senator Kay Brown raised your hand right away, so the floor is yours.
Excuse me. Paycom, I don't know how to feel about it, to be honest. I'm a little slow sometimes. So the little clock button where you check in and then it says something weird like in day. I don't know what that means. I'm not understanding. The training wasn't training enough. So yeah, how can we fix that? Like, is there a way to go back to the regular? No, there's not. Never mind.
Senator Hunn.
Yeah, going off of the training, because I know for those who were there, like at the training, it was just a video that we learned. And with that day in and day out, that's like I believe that's the timestamp, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, when you click on the day in button, it'll automatically switch to day out. So you're clocked in, and you click day out, you will be clocked out.
Vice President Souza.
Yeah, personally, my thoughts on this is it's very difficult to use for people who have like more like they don't have in-person hours. Like for example, peer advisors, we don't have times that we like go in for a shift. We just like clock 8 hours for our week. So having to remember on like my off time to clock in and clock out when I'm not working has been very difficult already, and it's on day 2. So and I know there's plenty of other jobs that have like hybrid or fully remote or all sorts of like jobs like that for student workers and even full-time employees that just it's very difficult to clock in for something you're not going into work for.
Senator Goodmeyer.
For me personally, the first thing I had a problem with was no consent was given for the giving of our information to a third party company. I feel most times when you work for a job, you are usually filling out the paperwork manually, so you're seeing who it's going for. And then once this transition was happening, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, they have all your tax information and all your bank information. Just make sure you confirm it. And I just wasn't personally like okay with that. I of course gave consent afterwards. I wish I knew ahead of time that information would have been given to them. And then on top of that, another problem that I have is I have multiple jobs across campus. And so I have to go in and change my department and change my job code every single time I punch into either position. So it's no longer, oh, I'm done with the week, just easily click down through tabs. I have to go in and do this extra 3-minute process just to clock in at the beginning of every day.
Chairperson Cloutier.
Yeah, I echo what President Souza and you just said, that it's difficult if you don't have a job you're clocking into, or if you're working multiple jobs on campus. And it's also, it was intended to be an improvement, I know, but it seems like it's harder for students and also harder for supervisors who are now dealing with a bunch of students who aren't clocking in when they should and now have to request for a time change. maybe the transition is part of that, but it just seems really difficult for no reason.
Senator Silver.
Yeah, at my job, I have to work like the second I get there. So what I used to do is then after my shift, I'd go back and put in whatever hours I did. But now it seems like, oh wait, everyone else has to wait while I punch in, or I punch in early. And then it's weird to me having to worry, like punching it right in as we get, when it is a time consuming process. It's just weird.
Senator Kilday.
I worry about, and I agree with that statement fully, and I don't feel like it was made fully clear. If you clock out by like a differential of a minute or 3 minutes, like how that's charged? Am I getting paid less because I accidentally clocked out 5 minutes or clocked in 5 minutes late? And then do I need to clock out 5 minutes late? Is that it's clearer when you could just pick which times you got there?
That actually brings up an interesting point, because I know at my job off campus, and I know at a lot of other jobs where like you have a manual punch machine or something like that, or even some places that might even use Paycom, they have a window typically of like 7 minutes. So if you clock in within 7 minutes, you're paid within that 7 minute period. Or if you like clock out within that 7 minute period, you're still paid for, like, say you're at a 4 hour shift, you're still paid for the 4 hour shift, like within the 7 minute window. So instead of being paid for like each individual minute, it's paid in 7 minute windows. But if it adds up to that 4 hours, it will do that. So I wonder if there is something like that for this or not, and if that would be possible, because it seems like it's just inconvenient that people do remember to do it. So yeah, Senator Gotti.
I'll just say, going off of both Senator Gilmartin and Senator Kilday's points here, I worked on that Sunday that we first started with this Paycom and using it, and I can tell you when I went to do it, I work up in the recreation office. There was nothing listed for my area code, for the code for what I'm supposed to put in. And like the fact that we have to like type in what we have to do for that spot for like where we're supposed to work, it's just frustrating, because that takes like 5-10 minutes just to find it. So it's like taking more time to actually like clock in than to just enter it after the fact, and the fact that we have to request it after the fact, it's just really frustrating.
Senator Day.
Two things. First thing about the training is I feel like the training was more about like how to get onto Paycom and not actually like about how like logging time works. And I feel like it would have been more beneficial to like include that in the training so people like understand what they're doing and how to like log their time. And then the other thing is with the like position codes, it's not, at least for me, it wasn't that hard to like specifically find the department. But then like I was talking to my boss and she had said that like, oh, it's supposed to be like it only shows you the position options for that department, but it actually shows you every single position like throughout the university. So then like, and they're not labeled properly. So then you have to go in and like find like the closest option when it should be like more straightforward than that.
That brings up an interesting point too. Something that I've noticed is it seems like it has both the old offices' names and the new offices' names, and then also a lot of positions pop up twice. So you also don't know which office to send it to or what position to pick for it. And you don't know if it's going to the right supervisor or not. So, yeah, Senator Hunt.
So going off of the, Paycom is very confusing, like overall. Cause like when I worked at a job over the summer, we did not use Paycom, we use ADP as our way of timestamping. It was a lot easier to actually utilize that app because we had to do is just sign in and timestamp done. With this, it's more of like you actually have to hop in and then you have to hop into another application in order to be able to use that timestamp. So it makes it very more confusing. And I was just wondering like why Paycom was the option for this point.
Senator Capron.
So another thing I wanna add is, for one, I feel like this was rushed and pushed onto us very quickly, and it didn't give me enough time to actually like prepare myself for the Paycom system, let alone like finish the actual training, because I still have some training to do on there. But another thing is, I don't know how to change my username, and I just keep logging on with the username I was given rather than switching a username to make it easier to log on. So like, I feel like it's just all confusing in a way. I'm just like,
Rivers, yeah, I just wanna comment on something you said because yesterday, I was speaking to various of my supervisors across campus and they all shared a similar frustration that even from their end, they also felt like it was super rushed and that they didn't have adequate training. So like when I didn't see I'm a peer tutor, so I didn't see my position there. So when I go to my boss for that and she's like, I don't even see you as one of my employees anymore, so I don't know how to help you. It's like, we don't really know where to go from there. And then she's asking people from HR and they don't know the answers. So yesterday, I mean, granted, it was day one and it's gonna take time to work through a lot of these kinks, but it was very hard to find very basic answers yesterday.
Just out of the interest of time, we're gonna wrap this up, but I do want to know, like, I do plan to meet with Austin Roberts, Greg Matthews, along with a few other people across the university. Do you guys have any questions that you would like answers to? Senator Goddard.
Could you ask, will we be able to, how are we able to see our hours? Just because I know a lot of us are concerned about, like, we have a certain amount of hours we can only work in a week. And I always get very close to it and I can't see it. Can you ask how we are able to see that, please?
Yes.
Is there a way to, how should I say, make it better, like understandable for the slower people on this, just make it a little easier to understand, accessible.
Senator Kilday.
I'm sorry, because this isn't a direct question, it's sort of a response to that. I heard that the supervisor training, the manager training that had like the first portion was just how to use Paycom. It sounded like that was a lot more helpful and in-depth, so I don't know if there's a way for us to access that training, that my supervisor said was way better than normal training.
Sure.
Please ask about switching the way that PAs get paid. Please.
Senator Gilmore.
Can you ask if they could maybe like publish like a form or something for like feedback by any chance?
Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap up this conversation. Thank you all for your feedback. Hopefully we will have updates soon. And if I have anything before the next Senate meeting that is pressing about it or any changes that occur, I will let you all know accordingly. Next, I just wanted to have some time for a follow-up to our conversation from 2 weeks ago. I know VP Matthews promised to be here to take questions. I know most of our questions were answered in the email that was sent out, and there have been procedures and stuff in place to really take care of international students and focus on like those side of the concerns, the staff changes, who people should go to for what, why staff changes have happened. But if there's any questions that you all would have, I know Greg is here today, so I just wanted to give you all the opportunity. If you would like to. Yes, Senator Bissonnette.
I know that quite a few students have been removed from their on-campus jobs, because apparently work study funding has been cut, where multiple students have been left, essentially high and dry and are no longer able to work, their on-campus jobs due to a lack of funding. And I was just wondering, is that like related to the whole budget cut thing? Is like the work study money like completely separate? Because now it's not just like staff that are being laid off, but now it's students being laid off as well.
So there are two funding sources for students and part-time work. Work study comes to us from the federal government. It comes in a fixed amount that's there. The institutional budgets are all from a separate source. It's basically part-time money that's used for students and for part-time employees. There was a fixed amount of money that was put in place for the budget for this year. I'm looking into how some of the distributions happened. basically what happened was when those funds were looked at, they were put into basically the umbrella area of the departments. Like, for example, I would be at the top of an umbrella of these things. And so sorting through those, it depends on where the department is, on how they reallocated money. So I'm gonna have to come back to you on exactly how those distributions are, because we worked on that at the cabinet today, because it was put back by the finance office in that way, but not distributed directly to the supervisors in the area. So I'm not sure if it's a confusion about that piece, or if there was actually a cut within that department. It's not all things were taken. I can't come back to you with information about that. Newsletter, if I find out fast enough. Okay. Yes. Sorry,
Really?
took your job.
Well, I was just gonna ask, do you know like what departments in specific?
I believe it was in athletics and I believe student success.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Senator.
Relating to her questions, I've had several international students tell me as well, since there are many restrictions on our I-20s, for example, you cannot displace a US citizen from a job on campus. We can only work on campus for a certain amount of time. What I've heard from possible job opportunities is that since we don't have work study and there's not enough funding for international students to work, that we can't get any jobs. Are there specific funds that are allocated to us, or is it just in the wind?
So the first part of what you said about the jobs is basically what happens with the H1 process. Within the institution, international students have equal access to jobs, except for the fact that you can't be paid through work study because federal funds can't be distributed to anybody except for US citizens. So in that respect, that law doesn't apply, because you would have equal access to the other jobs that have the institutional funds. As far as where they are, it is similar to what I just answered. You can have a job if the job is funded by the institutional funds. And for international students, legally, you can't work more than 20 hours while you're here in school. So those are the two restrictions for finding a job. And within those hours, you can't work on campus. But I think what I said earlier about looking to where those distributions are, I'm going to be looking at those this week to see what I can figure out, because that's been a question that's come up before.
Senator Conley.
Just one thing I've heard in for concerns from some people I work with is that some of the institution budget is starting to get like lowered, and that more and more positions are starting to become work study. Can you kind of explain where that's gonna be going, just because I've heard that?
So it's a little bit backwards from that. So work study is a fixed fund. As this year's budget was created, the umbrella distribution, it used to be that departments would have specific allocations of funding, some of being work study, some of being institutional. Departments would do sometimes is they would hire people who didn't have work study, and work study would be hanging. When you do that, the federal government takes it away from you. So you lose work study money by having a process like that. So what should happen now is that fixed amount should be something that can be used more consistently, so that kind of thing doesn't happen. And then there'll be a fixed amount for the institutional aid. That redistribution is what I was talking about earlier, so I'm gonna have to step into that and see if I can't help with making it more seamless. But it shouldn't be that the work study jobs should be going away, because we use the money, we keep the jobs.
To clarify my question, is more of the institutional are going away, and why is the work study, like more of them are coming in? Just as someone who's worked in one department now, that's as a non-work study student, and I've now like gotten pushed out a little bit with having more of that department becoming work study.
So unfortunately, it's still the same answer. I'm gonna have to be digging into that, but that was distributed through a different department. I've worked with work study and institutional funds and other places. So I'm gonna just have to insert myself in that. I talked to the captain about that today. So those answers will be forthcoming. It'll probably take me a week to actually dig through that. It's a lot of budget lines. I will do that for you, get you the answer.
Senator Desai.
With all due respect, you mentioned that international students have equal access to all jobs.
As long as they're institutional.
Yeah, okay, but most of the jobs that require or prioritize people with work studies, right?
Work study is prioritized because the fund is lost if not used. That's a fairly strict adherence that the feds do. You have to go through the appeal process and sometimes it doesn't succeed. It just doesn't work. So there is an intentionality about work study. There's also, all right, it's a little convoluted, but it's part of the answer. All universities that have the ability to work with federal funds have to comply with federal laws and regulations. Work study and SEOG, for those who might have it, are current funds that have to follow certain rules. So when we award financial aid for international students, it may be something like a scholarship, it may be in some instances a little extra grant that's there, that happens with international students. For domestic students, it's a wide array of places. Our money that comes through the scholarship funding is state money, is federal money. And in those instances, when we have the federal money, we award work study, it's an expectation on the part of the feds that we actually provide jobs for students who have that money. It's not a perfect system, but that's why the intentionality of there is to make sure that students who have work study can take those jobs, because one, we award it, and two, they take it away. They expect us to give it to people. So it's a very tricky management of an outside fund that happens.
I think, yeah, that's very fair and justice to people who have work study, but I've been here in the school for 1.5 years and I've still not had a singular job. Considering the fact that I'm supposed to manage the currency difference, which is pretty high. I don't think the school has enough opportunities for international students to be working. I think there should be like some separate spaces where work study should not be the priority. And, we could be prioritized at least once.
Sure. And that goes back to my original answer, because I have to look at how things are distributed. I didn't make those initial distributions, pulled out of the budget for a review. We went through the budget process this year, went back at the top level and not at the departmental level. So I'm still gonna have to sort through that. I'll keep that in mind.
Just out of the interest of time, we're gonna take one more question because we have another thing on the agenda that we have to get to, and Senator Miller, your hand was up first.
As it relates to the current shifts we've had in terms of staff, is there a current avenue for international students to seek these jobs? Because let's say we use Handshake, for example, there's no filter to say, okay, institutional funds versus federal funds. Is there someone that we can talk to that can help direct us or help us with this process?
Really quickly, on Handshake, there is a filter for work study versus not work study. So
I have tried it and then when you get there, it's, oh no, that's not what it means. So it hasn't worked for us from what I've heard.
Okay. So I'll talk with Career Services. What I did last week, that's why we had the meeting with the cabinet, is I suggested to Dr. Toyota, executive VP, that it be taken out of the Career Services because there is an attachment to the financial aid office, which I and it can include other things like the institutional work that we're talking about. So I just need that time to pull it out and to look through that. That I didn't know that you but I'll do my best to make sure that that's more easily accessible.
Okay. Just moving on to our next conversation is the new event planning process. I know it says something different on your agenda, but that's how it was advertised by Leah in the email that she sent out. So I'll just hand the floor off to you to give an explanation on the changes.
You can call it whatever you want. So you might have seen, I sent out an email yesterday about a new process that we're working on for planning events for the upcoming spring semester. I have it printed out too, if anyone needs a refresher. The gist of it is that we're trying to have all student events go through one spot so that information can be centralized and we can actually share the information about events so you as a student can know what's happening far in advance and not be surprised like, oh, there's an event happening right now and I didn't know until right now. So basically, if you're going to host an event on campus, there will be a Microsoft form that you can fill out with all of the information regarding logistics, so the date, time, location, things like that. Marketing, so if you've already created a flyer, you can submit it there for approval versus if you need help making a flyer, we can help you make one. And things like that, social media advertising. And then procurement, so if you need anything ordered, if you need a contract or anything like that, we'll have 3 teams of student workers within those categories that'll help you do those things. As we're going through the planning this semester, we'd like to do a couple of test runs with any clubs or organizations that either if you've had an event this semester or you're planning an event and you'd like to volunteer your group to do a test run so we can try it out, see where any of the problem spots might be. We would love you to volunteer. So there will be some exceptions. There's always exceptions. So ones that we've thought of, for example, CAB, that club is dedicated to planning events, spring event, and then also possibly like senior week and things like that. So I'm going to be reaching out to people from those groups to kind of work through if this process will help you. We don't want to take away what you're doing. So if you want to do those steps, that's completely fine. It'll probably be something where you're going to fill out the form anyways so that we can collect information about the details so we can still use it in marketing, but we don't have to do your work for you if that's something you're still interested in doing. So if you think that you're in a club or organization that might be an exception, please let me know because then we can kind of work through that. So yeah, we'll start it in January, do some test runs before then, and I think we're good for questions.
Sarah.
I've just talked with some of my e-board that I work with on the yearbook. Some of, like, we really enjoy planning these events. Is there a way to have this not be mandatory for all clubs? Just because some of us just do put a lot of work in, it just feels like it's taking away like the student ability for the student clubs to actually have the opportunity to work on this.
So how it's going to be, it's like everyone will fill out that form, but it doesn't mean you can't do the work if you want to do the work. So for example, if you want to make your flyer, that's perfectly fine, but you still have to get it approved anyway. So just by submitting it through the form, it's like less people that you have to go and email and send it to, if that makes sense. Same thing with all of the other groups, like the logistics team will just take a look at the date you've picked to make sure like, oh, it's spring break this week, no one's gonna be on campus, maybe you didn't think of that, just things like that, but you can still plan your events.
Something that I do want to say really quickly too is one thing that I've heard back and forth between the past 2 years of being on Senate is people complain that there isn't enough help, and then people are now complaining that there's too much help. So we can't have it both ways. And I think that this is a great middle ground for that. Yes, there are definitely kinks in the process that definitely need to be worked out, but please keep that in mind. Yeah, Senator Bissonnette.
I do like this overall idea. One question would be like, what is the turnaround time? Because obviously like different departments have different response times, like marketing, procurement. So like in comparison to like, if I submit this form for my Inspired event today, how far in advance should I be thinking?
Yep, that's a great question. Actually, I don't know I did include that in here, so thank you. So there's 2 deadlines. So if you're having an event that's a big one that includes contracts or like food trucks, things like that, we ask for 5 weeks in advance to submit the form. That doesn't mean you have everything done, Because if you want those student teams to help you, then 5 weeks is enough time to let them get in there and help you out with that work. If you don't have a big event like that, where there's contracts or outside vendors, then it's a 3-week deadline for you to submit the form.
Vice President Souza.
So President Kaufman and I are going to be working on the procurement team, so we've seen a little bit of what the form looks like and like all of the, like some of the questions that are like planning to be asked on it. And like for those of you who are concerned about like getting your like autonomy, I guess, taken away in terms of planning your events, like there's like drop downs for like you can pick and choose like how much of whatever part of the planning you want to do. If you want to do everything like but marketing, like you can pick and choose like what you're comfortable with doing. And like obviously there's gonna be changes that like come from like the testing phases. So like it's not just like this form is coming out and it has to be like that and you just submit a form and then everyone does the work for you. You don't get to do anything for your own club or event. Like they're gonna be continuously working on it and perfecting it and making it better to like best suit what students want out of it, but also like it gives you options on how much and how little you want to do.
Senator Day.
I just had two things. First, I think it would be important to look into the class councils as being a possible exception, because I feel like a lot of the things we do as part of a class council are the event planning aspect. But I do think this is a great idea, and I was also going to let you know that CAB would be interested in doing a test run with you guys.
I'm already in contact with Grace, so.
Perfect.
Something that I do want to ask everyone here, and I guess if you have an answer or any comments about this, Leah, you can also talk on it too. But when we were going over it for the procurement meeting, we were talking about the section with events, like the department for the university. And I know that it's kind of back and forth as to whether or not the students will have to go on CourseDog and actually put the event in, or they will do it. Personally, and I want your guys' feedback on this too, especially those of you who have planned events, I think just from my experience, there are so many little things on CourseDog that I forget that we do need for our events. And a lot of times, like the events people do remember and contact us about afterwards. I feel like it would be simpler for them to just look at the information we put in and use that to just book the event, and then put the things in for us. There's been so many issues of like, we didn't know that we needed to request trash cans because typically there are trash cans in this area, but when we had our event, there was no trash cans, and stuff like that have happened to clubs and organizations in the past. So just personally, I think they should just do it with the information we give them because they have a better judgment. They have the supplies, they can make that call. We don't get to see the supplies in front of us. So yeah, Senator Brown.
I actually disagree with that. Personally, I would rather do it myself just because I've had the same experience, but obviously like, there have been things that I forgot about, but then when I see it prompted in CourseDog, I'm like, oh, right, I do need to request this and that. And I also personally just like, I would rather do it myself so that I know it was taken care of rather than hoping, like I've had a lot of things at this university unfortunately fly under the radar and not get taken care of until literally like day of. So just because of my experiences, I would rather have the option to, do it myself to make sure it gets done. Everything I want is in there. And I've had to make edits to CourseDog before, and going through Bridget and Eddie Ortiz, that's never been a problem.
Treasurer Pearl.
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question that made me think of. Like President Kaufman and Vice President Souza were mentioning with that form, like with the drop downs where you can pick what you like do want to do and what you don't want to do. I don't know if it's already in there because I haven't seen the form, but if it's not, maybe could you add a section in where like if you as the club want to book the event, you can. If not, you can have someone in events do it maybe, so that way people are still given the autonomy to pick what they want to do.
Yeah, we can consider that, yeah.
Senator.
So ironically, Noah said half of what I was going to say. But I also think like if it is the sake of like that drop down and saying, yes, I would like events to take care of like the supplies and the booking and things like that, because I do agree that CourseDog can be incredibly confusing. Is having the option of like, even if you say I want events to take care of this, of having like maybe like a little comment section of like, if you know that you want certain want or need certain supplies, that you can still like let them know that within that form rather than automatically requiring like that sort of follow-up to be, hey, we're gonna do this, does that make sense? Or were you looking for something else?
Yeah, so right now how the form is set up, it's saying what resources do you plan to request? It has like a bunch of sample ones and then a spot where you can type in for other, but we could just rephrase the question and say like, what resources do you need? You can pick from the list and then still put in other if you have other.
Just out of the interest of time, I'm gonna cut the conversation here. As Leah mentioned, if you are a part of a group that would be interested in test running this, please reach out to her. If you have any other additional questions or comments, go ahead and reach out also. I know we are cutting it close to time. Just gonna ask everyone stay to 1:55. If you have a class that's across campus, you are free to go though. Next, just moving into visitors' comments. Are there any visitors' comments? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on.
Cam.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm a grad student and I want to know that is the same if as a student, as a grad student, I want to organize any event. Is the same procedure or not?
So eventually we want the departments across campus all to at least fill out the form so that if we want to advertise an event, the social media people can go in there and see like, oh, this is everything that's happening. Do you mean for like a club or just?
Just as a student event. I'm asking as a student event. If I want to host an event tomorrow, not tomorrow, next month, for
Right,
example.
yeah.
What should I do?
I would say plan on it, but we'll get some more specific info. If you want to reach out to me,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, moving on to executive reports, finance.
Okay, I will keep this brief. So last week I gave an update on the clubs that were currently frozen. So just updating that list now. For October's Club and Organization Monthly Report, we have 3 Med Society, still missing that. For the social media account registration, just Sport Management Association is missing that. And then for both the monthly report and social media, we still have the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, Innovation and Entrepreneurship missing those. I have reached out to all of them, heard back from some, have not heard back from others. So if you are a part of any of those clubs, know people in those clubs, definitely refer them to my email. And then in terms of business coming up, obviously Golden Voices initial allocation will be on the next agenda. And then also the November Club and Organization Monthly Report is going to be due Sunday, December 1st at midnight. So I am going to post a reminder announcement in the Student Leadership Kodiak today and send out an email to all club executive board members like I have been doing with these. And then something that was brought to my attention is normally I was sending reminders on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month with the report not being due until a couple days later. And so the thought there was some people might have been missing out because if you get the email on Thursday and it's not due until Sunday, I can't necessarily fault you for that. So what I'll be doing is I'm gonna send that first reminder today and then the second one, I'll actually send that on Saturday the 30th. So just reminding you, hey, this is the day before it's due. And then obviously as business per usual, any clubs who have not completed that by December 1st at midnight will have their accounts frozen at the following meeting, which will be Tuesday, December 3rd. And that's all I have to report. All right, legislative.
In the interest of time, please refer to the minutes for my report.
Campus relations.
Conveniently, it is his birthday, but I'd like to announce that Senator Keelan Hunt is my ranking member. I have a club storage project that I'm working with Bridget and Noah on. That'll probably be coming up in the next couple of meetings. And I'm meeting with Scott and Terry tomorrow, people from facilities that will hopefully be taking Dave's role on the projects we started. And that's all.
Public relations.
To keep it quick, all I have is our new chair appointments. I will be reaching out to you for a headshot so I can post about your appointments. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, academic secretary.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Okay, senators' comments. Yes.
If anybody likes Krispy Kreme donuts, would you like to buy a dozen
Yes.
box for me? Yes, talk to me like now.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
At this time, I seek unanimous, oh,
Do we have a meeting next week?
We'll announce that at the end of this week. We need to talk in e-board about that. At this time, I seek unanimous consent to adjourn. Are there any objections? Okay, seeing none, meeting adjourned. We can go into report meetings as per the rule. Class. It's a good thing.